Hello, today we are going to discuss some of the theories of Auguste Comte. Before we go into the theory, we are going to provide you with a short background to Comte's theories. When did sociology emerge? In the 19th century, but that was a context that was marked by the dissolution of the old feudal order. So, anarchy marked that dissolution. This dissolution was brought about by the Industrial and the French revolutions as well as the Enlightenment philosophy. They provided the context for the emergence of a science of society, sociology. The primary aims and the concerns of sociology was around the questions of social order and solidarity. Following Saint-Simon, Comte argued that the crisis of modern society could be resolved through the unification of two seemingly opposite forces, those of order and progress. Comte believed that, like the natural laws, society is also governed by immutable laws of order and progress. Trying to build a science of society modeled along those of the natural sciences, Comte insisted that this new science should be capable of bringing to light the past developments of humanity and of predicting the future. Additionally, like the natural sciences, Comte argued sociology should be of benefit to humanity. Comte was keen on studying the historical development of humanity using the scientific method, in particular the historical method and the comparative method. These methods, Comte argued, would root out the spirit of absolutism and show the progress of human society across time. This development would also show the need for order, and the science of society must be able to also account for what it contributed to stability at any given historical period. Examining the crisis of modern society, the modern West European society, Comte was convinced that intellectual harmony was the basis of order and solidarity. Moral disunity, Comte argued, results from the lack of intellectual unity. In short, Comte put forward a positive philosophy of change, social reconstruction and order. The law of three stages, the hierarchy of the sciences, and social statics and dynamics are the theories of Auguste Comte that we are going to discuss here. We begin with the law of three stages. The law of three stages is an application of Comte's method of comparison. It is based specifically on comparison through time, or what is called the historical method. Comte wanted to discover through, and we quote, what fixed series of successive transformations the human race, starting from a state not superior to that of the great apes, gradually led to the point at which civilized Europe finds itself today. Comte believed that ideas have a great role to play in human progress. Ideas had the capacity to bring about order, harmony and progress, or to lead to anarchy and destruction. We therefore find in Comte's theories the importance of ideas, his insistence on the development of intellectual harmony through the bringing together of the apparently irreconcilable ideas of order and progress. Therefore, we see that Comte's law of human progress, or the law of the three stages, is based on the development of the human mind. Comte asserted that the development of the human mind paralleled the development of the individual mind. Comte traces the development of the human race through the development of the individual human being. As Koza states, phylogeny, that is the development of human groups or the entire human race, is retraced in ontogeny, the development of the individual human organism. Comte argued that human thought passed through 3 stages of the theological, metaphysical and the positive. Comte stated that every stage or substage in the evolution of the human mind grew out of its preceding one. While Comte focused centrally on the progressive development of the human mind, he explained the stages of social organization, social order, social units and the material conditions of human existence that paralleled each stage in the order. We begin with the theological or the fictitious stage. In this stage, the human mind seeks to find the essential nature of beings, the origins and the final causes of phenomena. It attributes all phenomena to be the result of the work of supernatural forces. Feelings and imagination predominate the human mind in this stage. Comte divided this stage into 3 separate periods, that of fetishism, polytheism and monotheism. In fetishism, nature is defined in terms of human feelings. In polytheism, we find multiplicity or a multitude of gods and spirits. In monotheism, which is the final stage of the theological state, we find how it happens one by one, slowly. Humans come to believe in the existence of one God. There is a gradual coming of reason, that is, reason starts taking its birth. And concomitant with all this is the constraint on human imagination. In terms of social organization, the theological stage is dominated by priests and it is ruled by military men. The family is the prototypical social unit in this stage. We come to the metaphysical, or what Comte called the abstract stage. Following his own principle, the substage of monotheism, Comte says, prepares the emergence of the metaphysical stage. The human mind is dominated by abstract concepts, essences and ideal forms. Here, the mind supposes abstract forces, veritable entities, that is, personified abstractions. These forces are seen capable of producing all phenomena. The stage corresponded very roughly with the Middle Ages and the Renaissance. This stage, that is the metaphysical stage, was dominated by churchmen and lawyers, and it is in this stage that the state becomes prominent. Finally, we move on to the positive or scientific stage, in which human thought abandons the search for origins and final causes of phenomena or of essences. That is, we do away with what defined the theological as well as the metaphysical stage. What happens then? In this stage, the human mind seeks to study the laws that govern phenomena, that is, the invariable relations of succession and resemblance. In this stage, the absolute notions for causes of phenomena, the destination of the universe, are all abandoned. The study then shifts to that of facts and the tying up of these facts through the methods of observation and experiment, the methods that triumphed in the natural sciences. At the time Comte was writing about positive society, it was just coming into being. Comte, from what he was seeing, and his philosophy is based on that, believed that this stage would be governed by industrial administrators and scientific moral guides. The positive stage would bring in an orderly progress by establishing intellectual harmony. Here in this stage, sociology, that is the positive science of society, would teach humanity the fact of all social phenomena being governed by invariable and immutable laws. This will then curb the overweening ambitions of humans and calm the restless mind trying to find means of overcoming incurable evil. In the positive stage, scientists could teach humanity that true liberty meant a wise resignation to the laws that govern society. For Comte, in this stage, the whole human race becomes the operative social unit. While for Comte, intellectual evolution forms the preponderant principle of progress, he also admitted the role of other causal factors, in particular, the increase in population and the division of labor. The development of human thought not only paralleled development of social organization, but also the development of the sciences. His theory of the hierarchy of sciences is then intimately connected with his theory of the law of three stages. The transition from the theological stage to the metaphysical stage and then finally to the positive stage does not occur simultaneously for the various intellectual disciplines. While each science, like the human mind, passes through the determinant stages, with each stage developing itself on the accomplishments of its predecessor, just like we have seen as happening in the law of progress with the development of the human mind. It also happens with the sciences, but like the stages of human progress, the sciences also develop at different rates. Any kind of knowledge reaches the positive stage, Aron says, early in proportion to its generality, simplicity, and independence of other departments or parts. So, they are simple and general in this sense. Each science develops thus within a hierarchical framework that is governed by a law, and that is the law of increasing complexity and decreasing generality. Following that law, the various sciences are ranked that reveals the order in which the intelligence becomes positive. The most general and simple, Aron says, that is, in terms of lacking in interdependence. So, therefore, the most general and simple of the natural sciences, mathematics, develops first. It is then followed by astronomy, physics, chemistry, biology, and finally, sociology. The positive method was adopted and developed sooner in mathematics, in astronomy, in physics, and in chemistry than in biology. The more simpler and general natural sciences such as physics and chemistry proceed by isolating elements. Biology proceeds from the study of the organic whole and is thus holistic in nature. We find from the readings of Arrow and Swingewood and Koser that the simpler or less interdependent the object of study, the easier it is to think positively. Combining the law of three stages with the classification of the sciences leads Comte to lay down the basic formula. The method that has triumphed in the natural sciences, that is mathematics, astronomy, physics, chemistry and biology, must finally also triumph in politics and ultimately lead to the establishment of the positive science of society, that is sociology. Comte's review of natural sciences in terms of the law of increasing complexity and decreasing generality was not merely to demonstrate the need for sociology as a scientific discipline. There was more to it. Beginning with biology, Aron says, there occurs a decisive reversal in methodology, a reversal which is to provide a foundation for the sociological concept of historical unity. Beginning with biology, the sciences are no longer analytic but essentially synthetic. Physics and chemistry, the sciences that deal with inorganic nature, proceed through the isolation of phenomena and establish laws among these isolated phenomena. Therefore, they are analytic in character and are considered as analytic sciences. Biology, dealing with organisms, begins with the organism in its entirety. The parts and subparts of the living creature are interdependent and they cannot be considered in isolation. Now, transposing from biology the idea of the primacy of the whole over its parts, or that of entity over element in sociology, we realize the impossibility of studying any social phenomena or institution without placing them in their social contexts. This is the principle of methodological collectivism against the principle of methodological individualism that was expounded by the Enlightenment thinkers, most of them. Coming further, sociology is the study of social wholes or social systems. It is thus particularly dependent on its immediate predecessor in the hierarchy, that is biology. Thus, the study of the parts and phenomena can only be studied in relation to the whole. Sociology, therefore, like biology, is a synthetic science. Comte constantly reiterated the analogy between biology and sociology, although he also warns us against stretching the analogy too far. His theory of social evolution, and particularly of social equilibrium and order, is derived from biology. His understanding of pathology as a disease that affects the social body and one that gives privileged access to understanding of what is the normal social body and what is normal social health is derived completely from biology. Assimilating biological terms and models and the distinction between anatomy and physiology into sociology, Comte argued that this enabled sociology to differentiate structure from function, dynamics from statics, and social order from progress. So, three things. The search for the foundations of order or social stability is bound up with Comte's theory of law of human progress. For Comte believed that order and progress are correlative to each other, as we would find from our readings of Coser as well as Swinchwood. Comte focuses on the institutions and processes that give and promote order or statics in society: family, language, religion, and division of labor. The true social unit, according to Comte, is the family. Families become tribes and tribes become nations. It is in the family that the infant learns to curb their egotistical tendencies, and these tendencies are harnessed to social purposes. What are the social purposes? Of order, solidarity and progress. It is here in the family that humans begin to develop their personalities and learn to live with each other. Thus, the family is the prototypical social unit and all other human associations emerge from the family. Comte was aware of the limits of the analogy between biology and sociology, something that we have already made reference to. So, the analogy between biology and society is therefore also limited. The biological organism ceases to exist with its death. Further, it is bounded by its physical limits, the physical body. Neither is the case with society. The society cannot be bound by physical ties, but only with spiritual ties. So then, where would they find the spiritual ties? Comte therefore placed central emphasis on language and religion as the institutions that bind the earlier generations with the current and the future ones. Language. Language is the vessel which preserves the cultures of our ancestors, and it is also the vehicle through which the cultures are transmitted to the later generations. It is impossible for humans to attain solidarity without a common language and participation in a common linguistic universe. It is therefore a collective social tool that makes order possible. But language is only a common medium for expression in a human community. It is not a moral guide. For society to be orderly and functional, a positive moral guide like religion is essential, indeed indispensable. Religion, therefore, is at the root of social order. It provides that necessary unifying principle that binds societies together, the principle by which individuals learn to transcend their individual ego and join the community. Comte believes religion is also a principle of love that allows the individual members to transcend themselves in the love of their fellow beings. Religion is indispensable in providing legitimacy to the commands of the government, and we know that. No temporal power, Comte says, can endure without the support of spiritual power. Every government supposes a religion to consecrate and regulate commandment and obedience. Comte placed division of labor as process and institution that linked humans with each other. This was particularly true of modern industrial society or the positive stage in Comte's law of human progress. What does the division of labor do? It leads to distribution of occupations based on individual diversity, skills and propensities. The division of labor brings humans into contact with each other and thereby helps in the development of society as an organism. By fostering a sense of interdependence, the division of labor also brings forth social solidarity. Comte was aware of the negative aspects of the division of labor. The separation of social functions, Comte argues, develops a useful spirit of detail, yet the division of labor tends to extinguish or to restrict the aggregate or general spirit. In moral relations, while each individual is in close dependence on the mass, and we take it from Comte as he is quoted in Causa, he is drawn away from it by the expansion of his special activity, constantly recalling him to his private interest. Thereby, the individual fails to perceive how the private interest is related to the public one. We shall remember when we do Durkheim that this is also a concern that bothered Durkheim not only with division of labor, but also when he was studying religion. The inconvenience of the division of functions increase with its characteristic advantages. Comte hoped that the temporal and spiritual power both in the future would unite to keep up the hope of the whole and the feeling of common interconnections, in short, social solidarity. Comte always considered the role of social institutions in terms of their contributions to social equilibrium and order and in terms of their interconnectedness. Therefore, to end our discussion on Comte, it is good to just briefly focus what his theory did. So, he could be credited with being amongst the earliest of functional analysts of society. In Comte's theory, functional and evolutionary analysis of society complement each other, and this is what we intended to do in this discussion on Auguste Comte, focusing on his three theories.